smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some disease. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to run. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome guys. Miss Liz in the house. That's right. I am back. And today I have a returning guest, and you know how that works. Miss Liz always likes the returning guest because I already broke the ice with these guests. So we get down some little rabbit holes and have some fun. But before we get started today with Kim Lengling, we're going to get you over to Miss Liz's YouTube channel, Spotify, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of those platforms, and just give them a quick subscribe, follow, and share these tea times out, because I guarantee one tea time will resonate with someone in your community, family, or even in your own home. So that's how tea time works with Miss Liz. So let's get started with the disclaimer and then the intro, and then I'm going to get Kim in here and we're going to spill a tea. And we're going to spill a different type of tea today. We're going to get her right on the spot and get her to spill her tea with us. So the disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicated to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I, Miss Liz, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the giving time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including, but not limited to, trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of this discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Now let me give you a little bit on the returning guests. Today I have the joy of welcoming back a dear friend of the table, Kim Lengling. Kim is more than an author, a podcast host. She's a veteran, an advocate, and a storyteller whose words invite us to see hope even in the darkest corners. Through her writing and speaking, Kim reminds us that kindness isn't just an ideal. It's something we can live and share every day. She's joining us today to talk about hope, kindness, and real talk, finding light in everyday moments, and to give us a heartfelt glimpse into her upcoming book, 15 Ways Pets Teach Us Kindness, where she explores the powerful lessons of love and compassion our animals' companions can teach us. So pour yourself a warm cup, settle in, and let's lean into this conversation, one that promises to fill our hearts, spark reflection, and show us new ways to keep hope alive. Let me welcome Kim Lengling to Tea Time. Welcome, Kim.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's good to be here again.
It is always nice to see a returning guest because then I know I'm doing something right. So, Kim, for my first-time listeners that might have never heard your story the first time, share a little bit about who Kim was as a little girl and who Kim is now.
Who Kim was as a little girl? Golly. Well, that's going back a hot minute.
Bring you way back, girl.
Yeah. I grew up in small town America. one red light type of small town America, out in the country. Grew up playing out in the woods and in the creek, catching crayfish, tadpoles, all stuff like that. And I think that's where my love of nature and animals began. Well, I know it is because I spent so much time outside. I was also a jock. I played every sport we could because that was pretty much all there was to do in my small town growing up. And graduated, joined the military, went into the Air Force, served my time, got out, came home. I'm like summarizing this. So putting it into a small nugget. Came home, married my high school sweetheart. We have since divorced, but we were married for about 15 years, had a beautiful daughter who has married herself. She is now married and has her own daughter who will be 2 in a couple of days. So I'm a first-time grandma and I'm loving every second of it. And that's what I am and who I am up to this point.
Oh, Kim, I love it. I love that you're a grandma because you got the grandma groove. Like, there's nothing like grandma love. My granddaughter just turned 4 and started kindergarten, and I was just like, oh, and then I have a new one that's coming in February from my son. So grandma love all out there. Like, share a little bit about grandmas.
Oh my gosh. I heard, we all hear it growing up and from other people, when your grandma, it's just like, oh my gosh, grandma's being a grandparent's the best thing in the world. And sometimes I hear people say, oh, it's better than being a parent. And I never quite understood it until now. So, and I am blessed that I get to have my granddaughter a couple days a week. And I'm so fortunate that I can do that. So I spend a lot of time with her and we're outside all the time, of course, playing in the dirt and finding worms and stuff like that. But the thing that I have found and I've finally understood and now realize is that when you're a grandparent and you have that child with you, all of your time and focus and energy and love is on that child. You don't have 10 other things going on, like got to go pick up this child from school, got to run over here, got to make dinner, got to do dishes, got to get that laundry out, got to make lunches for tomorrow's school lunch. And you don't have all that time that you can give. But as a grandparent, when you have that child, all of your focus is on that child. And it is such a blessing. And so I am having an absolute blast. And she's going to be 2. She's just finding her words now. And her little personality's coming out. She's got a little attitude. And I just love every second of it.
Oh, the 2s are the best, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially when they start talking full sentences and stuff like that, right? Then you're like, oh, well, isn't that interesting? And they take us down journeys that were just like that pause moment, right?
Well, you know what they do? They remind you to take notice of the little things.
Yeah.
Because those are the important things.
Yeah.
See the world through their eyes. And I think that's a really great reminder when it doesn't have to be a grandchild. It could just be a child in your life that, look at the world through their eyes because they see everything in awe and wonder. And you lose that as you get older. But now I'm seeing the world through awe and wonder again. You see a dandelion growing and you just look at it and go, oh, like my granddaughter does. Oh, it's amazing because it is. It's amazing.
Well, it kind of goes into your book, right? That you're releasing. Is it released yet?
No, November 4th, it will be released. It's an ebook, but I'm also working on the print version. So I don't know when that's going to come out. The print version is going to be expanded. The ebook is a short little book, fun little read with little nuggets of hope from my dog, Dexter. So he wrote a lot of the book. So
I got to see that picture of Dexter yesterday on LinkedIn. I was like, oh, look at him.
He's my boy.
I like what you said, nuggets, because you do this nuggets every day.
Nuggets of hope. Yeah.
Tell us about the nuggets of hope and that's also one of your books as well, Nuggets of Hope.
Yeah. The last book I did last November was Nuggets of Hope. And this new ebook that's coming out in November, it's kind of like a companion one to this, only from the pet version, pet point of view. But the Nuggets of Hope are actual nuggets of hope. And it was, close to 3 years now. It's been almost 3 years. I started seeing and hearing and reading the word hope everywhere. And I was in a dark spot in my life at that time. So I wasn't feeling very hopeful. I'm sure you can understand that. And I'm sure some of your listeners can understand that. But the word hope was just showing up, and I'm going, oh my goodness, come on. I don't want anything to do with hope. I mean, I had that attitude, don't give me light and sunshine and joy.
I don't
that
want to see it
I
right
don't
now.
want it. So, but it wouldn't go away. Literally for weeks, the word was showing up everywhere. And I realized, okay, I'm supposed to do something. And as a Christian, I feel that that's like a little nudge from God telling me, hey, here, do something. And so I was like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed I don't feel like giving hope. But I remembered I had this small deck of cards from a networking event years ago. And they were in the back of a drawer, and they were those little like affirmations saying, you're awesome, you're a rock star, you've got this, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I had a few of those, and I thought, well, I'll just take those and I'll keep them in my purse. And when I'm out and about, I'll just tuck them away. So that's what I did. I'm at a grocery store one day. I took them out of my purse and just tucked them in with like the cookies. I put them in a shirt pocket. I put them in with the motor oil. I just tucked them wherever and thought, okay, done. Did what I was supposed to do. And I started in my head calling those little nuggets of hope at that time. But then if anything, the word started showing up even more after that. And I was like, okay, this is actually getting annoying. What am I supposed to do? And I just kind of felt this nudge, this whisper, you need to personally give someone hope. Period. And I just went, oh my gosh. So I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, well, nuggets of hope, nugget, 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 how your brain goes,
Like
at
little
least
chicken
how my
nuggets.
brain goes. And so I got online and I found these polished stones with the word hope engraved
That's
in
right.
them.
I was just going to say that. I remember you saying something about a stone the last time you were on Tea Time.
Yeah, these little guys. So I ordered some and thought, okay, well, those are my actual nuggets of hope. I'll just give those out. And I'm like, ugh. So, I put a couple in my pocket, and I was out one day doing errands, and I noticed a woman in an aisle just standing staring at the items on the shelves. But I noticed right away that the way she was looking, she wasn't looking at the stuff. She was like lost in one of those moments, like, is she on the verge of a panic attack? Is she talking to herself like right now, like in and out, breathe, you're okay? I mean, I understood and noticed and recognized the stance.
Yep.
And the look on her face. And I went, okay, she needs a nugget of hope. And without hesitation, I just reached in my pocket and I came up on her side. So she saw me, and I just said, excuse me, ma'am. And she turned and looked at me with just that look. Can't describe it. Lost.
Yep.
Sad. And I said, I'd like to give you a nugget of hope today. And I held out my hand, and she held out hers. I'm a total stranger, but she held out her hand. And I said, I wish you a blessed day. And I turned and walked away, because I never felt that I was supposed to chit chat, find her name, her story, nothing, just give that nugget to her. And as I'm walking away, I heard her say, oh my goodness, you have no idea. Thank you. Thank you. You have no idea. And that was the first nugget that I gave out. And I've been doing it ever since, because that nudge hasn't left me. So I'm going to keep on doing that until I'm not supposed to anymore, but I don't think I'm supposed to stop.
No, I don't think so.
Why wouldn't you want to give someone hope? Why wouldn't you want to share some kindness, especially if you're in your own darkness? Even though it's hard, make yourself do it.
Well, your nuggets of hope have gotten me through some of my dark days. Like when I see those little postcards that are on your LinkedIn, I'm just like, Kim, how did you know I needed this today?
Oh, I am so glad. See, I post those every Friday, and you never know. And that's just in my thing. It's like, well, why do I keep doing this? But my nudge is, no, you keep doing it every Friday, end the week with a nugget of hope. And so that I've been doing that for a long time now. I'm so glad, because I don't get feedback on those. So thank you. I'm so glad.
No, I like it because it's very simple, but it's right to the point, and it's that moment of you're not alone.
Exactly. See, they're doing what I was hoping they'd do. Yay.
Well, they work for me. I don't know if they work for anybody else, but I'm telling you, they work for me. Like, good. I mean, like I was in a dark place for a while, a really dark place where I didn't even think I would get up in the morning, Kim. And then I seen these nuggets of hope, and I was just like, Kim, how did you know? How did you know today was the day that I needed this?
Oh,
Right?
well, see, and that's not me. And I'm so glad. You know what I mean? It's just how whatever your beliefs are. If you believe it's the universe or whatever, I believe it's God. However your beliefs are, I'm so glad that they're reaching who they're supposed to reach.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when I find them and I create them, a lot of times they're for me too. And I'll go back and look at them every once in a while, be like, oh, okay, yep, that one's hitting me today. Okay.
Well, affirmations and the nuggets, they go a long way, because that's what I've started this year is the affirmations every day, right? And I'm just like, oh my God, I've done it for 276 days. I haven't stopped, like every day. And there's days where I'm just like, I don't have it in me, but I need to journal. I need to affirmate. I need to keep strong, especially somebody who suffers from depression and mental health. And especially with winter coming, like the blues, like I am fearful of winter. I love winter. Like I come from a northern town, Kim, but the blues, the mental health goes down deep in the wintertime. Because it gets dark faster. There's no more sunlight. So I try to get out as early as I can and sit out all day, as long as I can. Then the sun comes out. I'm just like, I wasn't ready for the darkness yet.
Right. Yeah. And then that's a tough time of year for me too. And I dread it, because now it's like pitch black here by 7 now where I live. And it doesn't get light until after 7 a.m. now. And
Yeah.
and I'm like, every day, the day is like, what is it, a minute or a minute and a half shorter every day? And it's tough because I am positive I have seasonal affective disorder along with my PTSD. So
Yeah.
you put those together, like, and I completely understand what you're saying. Knowing that,
Yeah.
and winter to me is beautiful, but there are days where I have to really remind myself or push myself to find the beauty in it.
Yeah. And that kind of goes into what you do with all the kindness, right? But as you were sharing, I was like, I think she had a stone. She had a stone. I remember a stone. See, I my little brain sometimes clicks on and it's like, oh no, that's Kim. That's the Kim I know.
Yeah.
I have so many different Kims that I'm getting mixed up. We were talking about that before we went live about your tea, and I was like, that's not Kim's tea.
And I said, I don't even remember what I sent you, but I know that wasn't it.
Right? Your guess, right? You're just like, that's not coming from her. So Kim, let's get into your tea and then let's get into your book, because I've had some questions that were sent in that I'd like to get out to you.
Okay.
So give me your tea on the spot, girl.
On the spot. Remind me how you want that given.
Three words that represent your story or you. It doesn't have to start with the TEA or the TEE.
Okay, just
It
3
is
words.
your
Yeah, and
tea.
I honestly don't remember what I sent you, but to me, it's faith, perseverance, and determination.
See, that's more of my girl.
Yeah.
So why
Yeah,
those words? Why
those
those words? Kim?
3 off the top of my head, those 3, I think they create a good little nugget right there. Faith, perseverance, and determination. Faith, because that's what keeps me going. If I didn't, I lived for a long time without faith, and I don't ever want to live that way again. Perseverance is, I tell myself all the time, pull up your big girl panties, Kim. We can get through this. Me, myself, and I, the 3 of us, and my dog Dexter, we can get through this, and determination. I'm determined to get through it. I'm determined to not stay in a dark spot if I have those dark days, because I go through anxiety and depression that goes along with my PTSD, and some days are rougher than others. I've got a toolbox that I've built over the years that is very helpful, and I'm so thankful for those who have helped me along the way. But determination, I'm determined to not ever go back to that super dark spot where I was at before it felt like my world imploded and I had to crawl out. I don't ever want to go back there. So I'm determined not to. So determined to keep myself healthy, mentally, physically, and do what it is I need to do to stay that way.
See, and I knew your tea wasn't what I had over here in my little book. I was just like, nope, that's not Kim. So can we had some questions that came in that I'd like to get out to you. The first one that came in is, what inspired you to gather stories about the way pets teach us kindness?
I am a huge animal lover, and I have watched, like I had mentioned earlier, growing up, I watch animals. I've always lived in the country, and I see how they interact with each other and how they interact with humans, whether they're domestic animals or like the deer that come through my backyard every day. The raccoons and how they take care of their babies, birds, crows, how you watch a crow family. Crows families stay together for their lifetimes. And it's just, if you pay more attention to nature, it has a lot of lessons to teach humans that humans have forgotten or they've chosen to forget. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to write from my dog's point of view. He shares his nuggets of hope in the 15 ways, and we did it just 15. We could do 315 if we wanted, but and I tried to use his voice and how he sees the world, his point of view, because think about it. And I'm going with dog because that's what I have. But anyone that has a pet, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The patience that they have, because they spend their whole life just waiting on you, waiting for you to feed them, waiting for you to take them for a walk, waiting for you to snuggle with them on the couch. They spend their life waiting. So they're incredibly patient souls. They love you unconditionally. You might step on their tail accidentally in the kitchen while you're rushing around trying to get dinner, going from, the stove to the fridge, and you step on their tail and they'll yipe, but they'll jump up, but they immediately run to you and you pet them and say, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry." And they've forgotten about it already.
They're so
Very
forgiving, right?
Yes, they're very forgiving. They don't carry grudges. They're not bitter. And if there are animals out there that seem that way, that's because humans taught them that. They're not born that way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We don't just become evil,
right.
right?
Yeah.
So Kim, the next question is, when you reflect on the 15 ways in the title, what was one lesson that surprised you the most?
Patience. Because I I don't have it a lot. And I remind myself, or Dexter actually reminds me, or any animal that I'm around will remind me. I'll be sitting here working, and then I realize it's a half an hour past the time that I was supposed to feed the dog. And he's laying here in my office doorway, just with his hands on his paws, just patiently looking at me, just patiently waiting, knowing I'll do it, knowing I'll feed him eventually. Or he, lets me know it's patience. And then also he keeps me on track. So if I'm up here too long, because he's in tune with me enough now where if I have like anxiety creeping up, and that's how I always say it's creeping up, he will just come up and start nudging me. And my other dog before him did the same thing. Once you've had them, they've been in your life long enough, they become very in tune with you. So Dexter now will do that every couple. It's every 2 hours typically. He'll come up, start nudging my leg. And I used to be like, "Okay, time for you to go outside." And then I realized, okay, yeah, he has to go outside to do his thing. But he's also reminding me, "Kim, get up, go outside, breathe, get some fresh air, get away from the screen." So he reminds me of when it's time for a break, when it's time for a snack, when it's time for a drink, So that's, I try and I don't know, try it sometime if you have pets. See the world through their eyes, and then pay closer attention to how they interact with you, because they're telling you an awful lot without words. You just got to pay
Oh
attention.
yeah.
Yeah, you just got to pay
I'm a
attention.
cat lover. I have grandbaby pets. I have dog grandbabies.
Yeah.
And they just hear the word grandma and they're like hyper, and I'm just like, I don't do anything special for you guys. I just buy a cookie once in a while, but they know me, and they can tell, like, even before I get to the door, ring the doorbell, they know grandma's coming. Like, they're just like,
My daughter's dogs are the same way. Yeah, she'll be like, "Grandma's here." And she says, "Mom, they absolutely lose their minds when we say grandma's here."
yeah, it's like they know, right?
Yeah.
I always talk about the animal language. When you're talking to for me, for my cat, Kim, I talk to my cat and my cat will answer me back, right? Like I'm like, you're having attitude today, like, it's just like where's that coming from? Like, or she'll go to the window and she'll like do this like little like to the birds, and I'll be like, don't be a bully, like be nice. Like they just want to sit on the windowsill. But we have this animal human language. Do you
Mhm.
have that with Dexter?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I did with my other dog too before him. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something we don't talk about, right? Is the human interaction with animals.
I talk to every animal that I come across.
We're little Snow Whites. We just talk to the squirrels and
Well, I do.
birds.
I talk to squirrels and the chipmunks and the birds. And, I've told my family and my daughter for years and years, I'm like, I want to be known when I'm in my 70s and 80s as the crazy old bird lady out there feeding her birds and talking to them. And, I'm doing pretty good with that right now. So I'm going to keep on going. But it's funny though, because the birds I feed everything. Again, I live in the country, so I feed the deer, I feed everything. And I have a big yard. So I call it like the wildlife refuge, Kim's wildlife refuge, because they all know where the good food is and they just come, you know. So of course, when I'm out there, like a deer, here's a good example. I had a doe. I have a lot. They come through all year round, but I had a doe in the spring, and she was out there, and I noticed. I'm like, "Ooh, you're getting pretty pregnant. You're going to drop that baby any day now. Please don't do it in my backyard. You know, do it somewhere safer." And then I didn't see her for a few days, and I was like, "Oh man, I hope she's okay," because she would come through every day. And then one night, I'm sitting on my back porch, and I look up, and she's coming out of the woods. And I realized she's not pregnant anymore. And I went, "Ooh, there you are, young mama." And so I'm whispering to her. I'm just automatically talking to her. And she's coming out real tentative, and she kept looking behind her. And then, I don't know, like a minute and a half later, her baby fawn comes out, just all gangly, and I'm like, "You're about 2 days old?" And I was like, "Thank you for introducing your baby to me."
Oh,
And she went over because the food was out and she's eating it and the baby's following her, all gangly legged. And um, she was comfortable enough to come to bring her baby. And I was like, "Thank you for introducing your little one to me." So I talk to him all the time.
and that goes into the next question. This is how it works. Like I just got to cross off all these questions because my guest just answered them as we're talking. That's how smooth this conversation goes. Because then the next question that came in, it was share a story that shows kindness and that, and the deer did that. Brought
Yeah,
kindness to your heart, like brought the baby to see. Hey, look it, that's my friend Kim, and
right.
here's my kid.
And that's they're so peaceful and so beautiful, these animals. And you watch, I do anyway, how they care for one another. And I often think a lot lately, the last several years, if humans were that way, the world would be such a different place. There's really no need for power struggle and I'm better than you type of stuff. There's no need for that. And I don't believe that we were put on this planet to be that way. Well, as a
I
matter
don't
of
think
fact,
so
I
either.
know that. I know we weren't put on this planet to be that way. And there's all kinds of other stuff I'll say, but I won't. I won't share it. I'm just saying kindness.
We keep it kind.
Yes, kindness is desperately needed. And people are like, "Well, how can I do that?" And I can't change the world. Well, no, you can't. But I always say I can't change the world either, but I can certainly, and I'm darn well going to try to change my small slice of the world for the better.
Yeah.
And just think if everybody did that, tried to change their small slice of the world for the better,
Yeah.
they would have a ripple effect. And you never know what your act of kindness, how far that's going to reach. It's going to go no matter what. I firmly believe this. It will go past you.
Yep.
Someone's kind to you, you are going to feel at some point that you're going to share that kindness with someone else. So it's just going to keep going. Why can't we do it purposely?
Right? Why do we have to have that permission to be kind?
Right. Just do it. Smile at a stranger. You know what my favorite thing lately is and has been for about the last year? Compliment a stranger.
Right.
You have the smiles that you get back in return make your day.
Or if you
You know,
like an outfit, just say, "Wow, that's an awesome outfit." Like you're not putting evil out there. You're putting kindness out
right.
there.
I,
You
you know,
know.
I saw this group of 3 ladies. They had these huge purple hats on. I was in Walmart, and they were older, probably in their 70s, I'm guessing, but they were older than me. And they're walking in they're giggling like young girls. And I just started smiling right away, just like, oh my gosh, look at them. Look at those beautiful women. And as they walked by me, I said, ladies, ladies, I have got to say, and they all turned and looked at me. I went, you are rocking those hats. And they just started laughing and saying thank you. But I mean, it made their day and it made mine to see them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know there's a red hat society, but I think
There
purple
is.
hat.
I tried to get into when I was like in my 40s, and they said you have to be 50. You're a pink lady right now, and I was like, well, I like pink too, but I
Oh,
want to be a red hat
I
lady.
could be a red hat lady now.
Yeah, I'm in my 50s now, so I can be a red
Me
hat.
too. Yeah.
And I think after 70, it's the purple hat lady.
Oh, so these ladies were in their but they were rocking them, and they were really big brimmed. They were awesome, and they were just having the time of their life, just walking through Walmart, giggling and laughing. And I just, I just thought it was the best thing ever. And I just automatically thought I have to compliment them because they're rocking those hats, man. So
Right?
just stuff like that. See somebody that's got a sharp looking coat, and you just like, wow, that coat, beautiful.
Right?
You are carrying that with style, you know?
Or I wish I had the courage to wear something that good. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yes,
we have that fear within ourselves, right?
you're
That
right.
we're just like, we couldn't do that. We couldn't wear that. Why can't we wear it?
I love hats. I think hats are awesome, but I always thought I can't carry them off. But I started a couple years ago randomly buying hats that I would never normally buy for myself. I will wear baseball hats, put a ponytail hat, in baseball hats. I've always done that, but like a true hat,
Yeah.
to like
Nice
feel a
tea
little,
hat. I
yeah,
have a long Kim if you want a tea hat.
to feel like, feel a little snappier. So
Right?
I have a couple and I wear them every once in a while, like in the fall and the winter. And when you put them on, you're just like, yeah, uh-huh. Gives you like a little attitude, like, here I go. I am rocking my hat. So, do that for yourself too.
Yeah.
Go buy
Well,
yourself a hat.
Kim, and it kind of brings you into your podcast because your podcast is called Let Fear Bounce. And we're talking about fear, right?
Yeah, those little fears that sit on your shoulder that we didn't invite them there, but there they are anyway.
So how did you get the name for your podcast?
It was during when the world changed in 2020. I had lost my job along with millions of others. And I told myself, okay, Kim, be angry for 24 hours. Yell, scream, go outside, whatever you swear at the world, do what you have to do for 24 hours. And then that's it. After that, no more. So I did that. I was angry for 24 hours and I did that really well for 24 hours.
That's it. We're only allowed to be mad for 24 hours. Then we got to get kind again.
Yeah. And then it was like, okay, the next day I'm sitting on the edge of my bed and I'm like, what are you good at? What do you like to do? And what do you have a passion for? I asked myself those 3 questions. And I'm like, okay, well, I like talking to people. I like public speaking. I like writing. I've always wanted to be able to have more time to write. Now I do. What can I do? What about this podcast thingy? I had never heard of, I had never listened to podcasts. I'd heard of them, but I didn't know anything about them. So that day I literally Googled how to make a podcast. And 2 hours later on my really old laptop with no microphone, nothing external, it's just all my old laptop, I did my first episode. And I look back now and it's so bad, but I did it. I did it. And almost 5 years later, here I am. But that day, when I was sitting on the edge of my bed asking myself those 3 questions, I'm like, okay, you can't let, oh, how are you going to pay the bills? Oh my gosh, mortgage is coming. This is only going to last so long. Okay, if I get unemployment, that's only going to last so long. How am I going to find a job when everything's, all of that.
Yeah.
because the world was closed, everything. And so it's like, oh, Kim, you cannot let that land. You cannot. And then you turn on the television or the radio and it's just throwing fear at you. Don't leave your house. Don't breathe. Don't be near your family members. You'll die.
Don't hug me.
Yeah, don't be, stay 6 feet away, stand on this sticker. I mean, to me, it got to the point where it was so ridiculous. I no longer believed it. I was like, this is some sort of grand plan, and I'm not playing a part in it. I refuse to. I will not let the world tell me to be afraid, because that's what the world was doing. Telling us, think about it, folks. It was telling us, you need to be afraid to leave your house. You need to be afraid to stand closer than 6 feet to someone. And I'm like, no, that is not how we're supposed to live. And I refuse that. I refuse to accept it. So I was like, all right, Kim, armor up and let fear bounce. And that was my thought. And then when I was playing around and trying to figure out how to do a podcast, I'm like, well, what would I call it? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to call it Let Fear Bounce. So that's how it came. The world gave me it. The world that was telling me to be fearful. And I said, no.
I'm bouncing back. It got so ridiculous that the common sense was no longer there, right? So then it started to wake us up and start saying, whoa. And especially people who live with mental illness and PTSD and stuff like that, we're already in the dark. We don't want to be locked down more, right? So we fight back. And that's what we do with PTSD,
yeah, I was,
right? Is we fight.
and I made people angry. Because they're like, you have to wear a mask. You have to do this. I'm like, wait a minute. Who's telling me I have to? Well, they are. Who's they? Because I don't believe it. I don't believe them for a minute. And now you can look and see just how wrong so much of it was.
And how crazy it was.
And how, crazy it was. So, I wasn't wrong in my thinking, but I've never been one to blindly follow anything or anyone. Ever. I question everything. And people don't like that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I refuse to let someone tell me I should be fearful, of whatever the case may be. I said, no, you give me proof of why I should, and maybe I'll consider it, but I'm not going to be fearful.
Yeah.
So I've never blindly, I call that, I don't want to be a member of the sheeple blindly following anybody, no matter who it is.
Yeah. I think we all got to push back, right? We all have to have a little bit of rebel in us.
You have to be your own advocate.
Absolutely. 100%.
For every season and part of your life, especially medical, mental, you have to be your own advocate. Now, of course, you need help. Like I've sought help, and I have people that have been super helpful, professional and non-professional. But you have to be your own advocate. Ask questions. Keep a notebook. Don't just blindly say, "Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I can start taking that pill. Oh, I'll take that pill too. Oh, another one. Okay." Ask why.
Absolutely.
And then say, "Well, how will they work together? Is it going to cancel each other out? Is it going to make me sick? Why should I be taking this?" Because I've said no to a lot of things. I'm like, no, I'm not taking that. No, I'm not getting that vaccine. Absolutely not. You don't have enough proof that it's going to work, and you can't convince me that it's safe. So if you can convince me it's safe, I'll take it. But you can't, so I won't.
Well, I think, and we didn't have those open conversations either, Kim, when it came, right? It was just you do, and you follow. If you don't follow, well, then you're a conspiracy, right? You're going against.
Oh, I was called a conspiracy theorist, and I was like,
I was too for the longest time.
Yeah,
and,
me too. And I said,
then I was just
you.
like, whoa. And then I dropped into it, and then I felt bad about myself because I was just like, oh my God, I fell for them, right? Because I had, I had to travel, and I couldn't travel unless I had it. And I was like, oh my goodness.
No.
And as soon as I got it, the first thing I said to the person that put that jab in me, Kim, is I said, I just put poison in my body. That is exactly what I told that nurse or that practitioner, whoever gave me that jab, was I just put poison in my body. That was the words that came out of my mouth. And I went into a big down depression for a week.
Oh.
Because I was just like, I went against my own morals and values because of the fear.
See that, I bet, well, I know a lot of people did because a lot of people were threatened or they did lose their jobs because they refused to
Yeah.
get something like that. And I know we're going back and it's, there's a lot of dissension still probably with that, with vaccines especially. But I mean, that was very real back,
Yeah.
a few years ago. It really turned the world upside down. And there was so much misinformation and incorrect information and lies.
Yeah.
And that's all been proven out now. So we were not conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. And they said you won't get COVID if you get the jab. Well, you know what? I got it twice. So
Yeah.
your
I
jab,
mean,
your
here's the
jab went
interesting
against
thing.
you.
Everybody I know that got a vaccine for COVID got
Got-
COVID.
Exactly.
I did not get a vaccine.
Yeah. And that's the fear,
I got
right?
the flu, but I didn't get COVID.
Yeah.
Now I may have. I was never diagnosed with COVID, but there was a few days where I was thinking, I might have it, but I didn't leave my house because I wasn't going to share whatever it is I had. But yeah, that was a crazy time, and that was a time also where, like you said, people that already live with, I call it the little demons that ride your shoulders. That made it. I was telling people, I said, I don't have a problem at all being in my house by myself and not going anywhere. I don't have a problem with that. But then I realized it's not bothering me, and that should bother me.
Right.
So I made myself go. I made myself get out of the house and go do something because I was like, "Ooh, this would be way too easy to become a recluse."
Yeah.
At that time, because that's all you heard. And I got rid of my cable. I quit watching TV. So I got rid of cable, stopped watching TV, barely listened to the radio. I just listened to music that I already had. I was reading books. I didn't watch the news because it was really wreaking havoc on my mental health. And I am positive it did on millions and millions of other people too across the world.
Yeah. Well, Kim, you talk about books. Let's talk about a couple of your books before we wrap up because time is just flying like
Holy cow.
tomorrow, right? Let's talk about some of your books. Let's get some of those books out there so people can check those out because your books are simple reads and easy reads and and they lighten your life up. They lighten your day up. So let's talk about a couple of your books that you've written.
The last two or the last three. So two of the last three, it's all about pets. Paw Prints on the Couch and Paw Prints on the Kitchen Floor. They're anthologies, so it is different authors sharing a story. So there's 15 to 20 stories from different people sharing their stories of how their pets have changed or enhanced their lives. It's kind of like a chicken soup for the soul type books. So it's Paw Prints on the Couch and Paw Prints on the Kitchen Floor. And then my newest from last November is Nuggets of Hope. And this shares the story of how I started with the nuggets, like I shared a little earlier, but it shares specific stories of that first year or two of me actually handing those nuggets to people. So I share some of those personal interactions along with just practical things of, being kind and why shouldn't you be kind and changing your slice of the world, So it's just it's a tiny little book. You can put it in your tote bag or your purse and read it while you're waiting for the kids to get done with softball or hockey or dance. You know what I mean?
That's what I liked about your books because they're simple reads and they're different stories, right?
Yeah.
And they make you
it's a quick
chuckle and
read.
they make you giggle, like they make you look at life and the paw prints, right? How many people complain about paw prints on furniture? I just love the titles of the books. Like,
Well, see, someone had mentioned something, and I was like, that sounds like kind of a cool title for a book. Let me think about that. Because Paw Prints on the Couch, and when I had to let go of my dog prior to the one I have, he was with me for 14 years, and he had his, snuff marks on the window. He was a big dog, so he could get right up in the window, and he had snuff marks on the window, and there were paw prints, everywhere. And I, cleaning up and everything normal. But then when I had to say goodbye to him, I was just crushed. I was just devastated. And I would find a little fur ball every once in a while. And I'd be like, and I'd start crying. But the snuff marks on the window, I left them there for months. I didn't clean my window for months after I had to say goodbye to him. And that stuck with me. And I'm thinking, how quiet and too clean my house was without paw prints. And I don't care where they're at, or whether on my couch or my bed, my animals are allowed on my furniture. They live here too. So when I got Dexter, he had to have been abused. He was very sickly, very, very timid and skittish, and he wouldn't get on the furniture. It took him a while to work his way up there. And I kept saying, no fear here. You can get your paw prints everywhere in this house. This house, I'm looking forward to muddy paw prints again. So that's how the titles of those books kind of came along. Just remembering, how awful it was to not have them.
And we need paw prints in our lives.
Yes. Whether it's a dog, cat, gerbil, lizard.
Deers.
I don't know.
Raccoons. We need those paw prints.
That's right. That's right. Paw prints, hoof prints. If it's a horse, I don't know. You need those. You do. You need them.
So do you have any intentions to write another book with the paw prints?
I thought about it, and I had reached out to a few people, and then it just kind of fell through. So I thought, okay, I guess it's not time to do that one yet, because I would like to do a third and final one to make it a 3-book series. And that one it already has a title and everything. I have a cover for it and everything called Paw Prints on the Front Porch. And that would be the final one. So I'm just, hey, if your listeners have a story they'd like to share about a pet that they've had, have them reach out to me. If I get enough people, I need at least 15 to turn it into a book. And with these books, for the first 12 months that I have them out into the world, the proceeds go to a local no-kill shelter in my area. So it's not a money-making thing that I'm doing. This is, it's
you don't make money with books.
No, we don't make money with books, believe me. As a matter of fact, there's more money going out to make them than there is coming in. But because there's a lot of out-of-pocket expenses, editing and proofreading and cover design and things like that. So I never make a dime off of those books, but that's not why I made them. Because each of those stories is a little nugget of hope as well. They're going to make you laugh. They're going to make you cry, maybe both at the same time, make you remember your first pet that you had when you were growing up. They're just, they're nice little books. And then, of course, nugget of hope. And then my one that's coming out this November, 15 ways pets teach us kindness. So that kind of goes along with my nuggets of hope book. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That one I'm going to turn into a print book. Like I said earlier, I am continuing to write and expand on it, but the ebook I wanted to get out just because I felt strongly that I was supposed to. So fun little ebook, but a print book coming maybe early next year.
Coming to stores, coming soon.
Coming soon.
In the print book, we're going to get to see Dexter, of course, right?
Yes. Well, I think his picture is in the ebook. So if you have, on a Kindle, his picture's at the end.
Oh,
yeah.
And he's a cutie. If you haven't checked him out, check him out, because
he is. Yeah, he's another. Each of the animals I've had have been rescues from a shelter, actually a kill shelter that, and I prefer to rescue the dogs from there. So, my dogs have all been from there, and he came from there. So yeah, he's a very unique guy.
I think adopting animals from shelters is a good thing, because there's so many that are in there that when I go in there, I see heartbreak. I see the sadness, and I'm just like, I can take you home. I can take you home. I can take you.
I know. That's why I said, if I was independently wealthy, I would have a lot more dogs.
Right.
But I'm not independently wealthy.
And it seems to be like the older animals that I see in shelters. People
yeah,
like the puppies and the kittens, but as soon as they grow, they're like, oh, let's get rid of it.
Or it's elderly folks that can no longer physically care for them, or they've passed away. Oh. And their family members don't want the dog. That happens a lot. So here's a little tip for you folks, for you with pets. Make sure you have something in place, because we're not promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
We never know what's going to happen in life. Make sure you have something in place, and funds, if you're able to set aside funds, that you have a specific person and money to provide for that person to take care of your animal should you no longer be able to. Don't just assume your daughter will be able to take your dog. don't assume that, because they might not be able to. Because I know my daughter would not be able to take my dog.
Yeah.
She's got a toddler and 2 other big dogs. She wouldn't, and a small house. So, keep that in mind. You put in place everything for, this, and this, but make sure you put something in place for your pets too. I've been trying to put a little bit aside, and, I have a person that has agreed, yes, I will take your dog, get it in writing. And then, it's like, okay, I have this, whatever amount of money I have, use it until it's gone, but please take care of my dog the way that I would have.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think that's very important. I think it's really important to think of that. And I don't think a lot of people, and I know I didn't for the longest time, but we're not promised tomorrow.
and that's something we don't think about is our pets.
Yeah. Who's going to take care of them if you can't?
Yeah.
That's a good question to ask yourself. Who's going to take care of your pet if you can't?
Especially for people that can't have children, right? And their pets are like their children, right? You really want to make sure that they get a good home.
Exactly. Yes. A loving home, not to end up in a shelter afraid and not understanding why they're there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, Kim, give me a kindness habit you learned from animals that you can practice daily.
Patience, I think, is the main one. I don't think we're near patient enough with each other as humans. Patience and no judgment. Don't judge. Who are
And
we to
give me,
judge? Who are we to judge someone else?
right? And give me the funniest animal moment you've ever experienced in your life.
The funniest. Well, there's been so many, because so many dumb things happen when I'm out walking my dogs. But years ago, it was wintertime. I live in the Northeast, so we get a lot of snow here. And I was walking my other dog, Digger, through the woods, and I was recording him because he was huge and black. And I was like, he looks so cool against the white snow. He's just like so regal through the. I'm like, look at you, king of the woods. And I'm talking to him, of course, and I'm recording him, and I'm walking. And I wasn't paying attention to where I was going, though I should have, because I knew this path like the back of my hand. I'm walking, and all of a sudden, my leg goes down into a ground chuck, or a groundhog hole, and I just go flat on my face in the snow, like splayed out. I was really lucky I didn't break my ankle. And I laid there, and I just started laughing. And I look up, and Digger had sat down and was looking over his shoulder at me like, "What are you doing now, woman?" And I started laughing so hard. He didn't even come over to see if I was okay. He just sat there like, his eye rolled. Oh my
Eyes
God.
rolling, like, what is this woman doing?
And I got home, when we finally got home, because I laughed all the way home. And I was very thankful I didn't break my ankle, because I probably should have, and I didn't. But I literally did a face plant. And I got home, and I watched that video so many times, because as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, Digger, look at you. You're so regal, trotting through the woods.
Down she
And all
goes.
you saw was just white, and you heard me, this loud grunt. It was hilarious. And then you hear me going, "Oh my gosh, Digger, the least you could do is come and help me." You hear me mumbling, "Oh my God, I got snow up my nose." I mean, it's just hilarious to listen to. So that's one that sticks in my head. It's the grunt that gets you every time when it's.
She did it. She went down. Boom.
It's just, yeah. Yeah. So that's one of my funnier ones for me anyway. I think it's funny.
And one word that describes the bound between humans and animals. The bound, the bond,
The bond.
the bound, the bond.
If your heart's open enough, that bond is it's endless. It's seamless, it's endless. It's just perfect.
The bond, the bond, the bond, the bond. I can't even talk anymore. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, if you keep your heart open, and keep your heart open. Let the animals heal parts of your heart that you maybe forgot needed healed.
And Kim, what makes you laugh on tough days?
My dog. My
Why?
dog makes me laugh. just some of his looks or the way, the looks he'll give me, like, come on, really? Pull yourself out of it. You know what I mean?
Really, woman?
Yeah. Or he'll just, all of a sudden, how dogs, they like put their butt up in there and their tail's wagging and their front legs and their head are down. They're getting ready to play. When he does that, it just cracks me up. I don't know why. So, and I think he does it on purpose. He's in tune enough with me that he does certain things that he knows it's going to get me out of that little funk that I'm in. Or I look at pictures of my granddaughter or watch videos of my granddaughter because she's just nothing but joy. So that's what I do.
It's precious little moments. And what's one word that you can give everybody out there today to reflect on?
Hope.
Why?
There's always hope. Always. It doesn't matter if you live in the city and you don't see anything but cement. Buy a plant, put it in your window and watch
I hope it grows.
And well, I mean, you're putting a plant there. That is hope. To watch it grow. So think about it. It's something growing, and why can't you grow with it? The sun's going to come through that window and hit that plant one of these days, and it's going to almost glow, and it's going to be beautiful. The leaves, the way the sun is hitting the leaves just right. And you look at it, you just go, wow, how beautiful that is. That moment was so beautiful. And that moment of hope can carry you through your day. So there's hope everywhere.
And where can we find nuggets of hope? I want to get that out. And I want to get out where we can reach you, Kim, as well, and your podcast and all that good stuff, so we can get all that information out to the listener.
Okay. All of my books are on Amazon, so you can find them there very easy, just under my name, Kim Lengling, or, the titles of the books. One-stop shop, I guess, to find more about me and what I'm doing and what's coming up is just my website. And that is kimlenglingauthor.com. And my Let Fear Bounce episodes are on there. So they automatically update each week with new episodes on Wednesdays. Also YouTube. I have a Let Fear Bounce YouTube channel that has all of my episodes of my podcast, as well as I added another little part to it called Soothing Sounds. And it's music with nature backgrounds and really soothing music. And I started finding these videos elsewhere. I'm like, these are gorgeous. And just to sit and close your eyes for a few minutes. And I thought, well, I'm going to make some of those too. So it's been fun doing that. So that's a new little part called Soothing Sounds, but it's still on the Let Fear Bounce YouTube channel. And on Spotify and any of your listening platforms, you can listen in on the Let Fear Bounce podcast. But you can find everything and all of that stuff and how to contact me also on my website, kimlenglingauthor.com.
And final message today for everybody out there, Kim.
Final message. Okay. You're having tough days. We all have them. We're not guaranteed that we won't have them because life is bumpy. But what you need to do is remember, because you're still standing and you're still here, that you have a 100% success rate of making it through the tough days because you're still here. And 100% success rate, that's pretty darn awesome. So remember that. You got a 100% success rate of making it through. So remind yourself of that.
Well, I really had an amazing time with you again, Kim. Like always, we always have a good chuckle and some giggles. So I'm just going to do a closing summary, and then I'll be back at 7 p.m. with Kay Sparling, and we'll be talking about music and justice. That's right. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So what a heartwarming tea time we've shared with Kim Lengling today. Through her stories and her upcoming book, 15 Ways Pets Touch Us with Kindness, Kim reminded us that sometimes the most profound lessons come from the quietest teachers. A waggling tail, a soft paw, or the unconditional love of a pet. She's shown us that hope and kindness often arrives in life's simplest moments, in small gestures, in listening, in being present for another soul, human or animal. As you step away from the table today, I invite you to carry Kim's message with you. Let's be the kind of people who notice the little things, who offer light in ordinary ways, and who remember that kindness, like love, multiplies when shared. Thank you, Kim, for pouring your heart and wisdom into this tea time. And to all of the watching, And listeners, may you continue to plant seeds of kindness, one cup at a time. Until we meet again, I'll see you at 7 p.m.